It looks like the microphone should be working now. I don't know what happened there. Thank you so much for being patient. Thank you for sticking around while I was troubleshooting the problems. Let's talk about what I just said, though. I said thank you for being patient. Often in English, when people have to wait for something to work, someone will say thank you for being patient. And then I said thank you for sticking around. In English, when you stick around, it means you don't leave. Sometimes when you have technical problems with a live stream, people will leave, but many of you stuck around. So thank you for sticking around. And I use the word troubleshoot. I was troubleshooting the audio problems. When something isn't working, you troubleshoot it. So you look for the problems. So I did some troubleshooting. I just ended up unplugging the mic and plugging it back in. It's a little strange. Oh, those kinds of things, because it simply cost a lot of money. But they are definitely very popular in Canada, especially in Western Canada, because we have the Rocky Mountains. They are very, very popular. Let me see here. Now someone is saying, oh, so that everything is working for me. Maybe Todd and Dave could let me know if it's working well for them, because my feed is happening. Okay, so I'm seeing everything. Yeah, Dave's suggesting that you refresh your page. That might help, because on my screen, it looks like everything is 2 thumbs up. Maybe I'll just keep my earbud in for a little bit. So yeah, and Todd's saying it froze for a sec. So okay. Anyways, I'll try doing it with the earbud in for a bit just to keep track. It probably won't work well, though, because it's weird hearing yourself talk. Next question is from Mary, the Iranian. And Mary, I don't have an answer for you. Hi, Teacher Bob. Hope you are great. Could you please talk about the term? And then I don't know this word at all. Stay safe and thanks in advance. So sorry about that, Mary. That is not a word that is familiar to me. I do not know that word. You would need to look it up. Let's see here. Next question is from Valerie from the Ukraine. Hi, Bob. What do you... Excuse me. Now my throat's going to act up. What do you mean you failed me? It failed or she fails. What does it mean? Do something without fail. Thank you in advance. So if someone fails you, it means that they didn't do what you wanted them to do. So if your brother was supposed to pick you up from the airport and he didn't come, you would say that he failed you, okay? You would say that he failed at that. So he was not successful. And then if you do something without fail, it means you do it regularly, that you don't have a problem when you are doing it. Let me get to the next question here. This is from Athanasios, and he says, hello, dear teacher, how are you today? When you visit someone and he says, welcome, Bob, what would you reply? Thanks. If I visited someone and they said, welcome, I would probably say thank you. When you walk into someone's house to visit, they'll often say, welcome to my home or welcome. And then usually you just say thank you. You say, oh, thank you very much. Let me get to the next question here. Sorry, I'm a little out of sorts because of the technical problems. So I'm going to probably check quite often to make sure things are working. Let me get to the next question. No, here we go. This next question is from Luong, and he says, hi, Bob, how's it going? Could you please tell me what is the difference between endemic, pandemic, and epidemic? Thanks a bunch. So a pandemic and an epidemic are very similar. A pandemic is pretty much worldwide, when a disease spreads rapidly around the world. An epidemic is when a disease spreads really quickly just through a city or through a school. So you would call it an epidemic. And then endemic is a very rare word. And I'm going to make sure I look it up for you just to make sure I have the right phrasing. So it's native to a certain place. So it's endemic to the region. So you could say that a certain kind of squirrel is endemic to this region. That is not a common word, though. And I hope I actually used it correctly there. Sometimes I make mistakes. Let's get to the next question. Let's see here. Johnny from Brazil says, hi, Bob. In yesterday's lesson, you said that dull can be used to describe a knife that doesn't cut properly. But can I also use blunt to describe that? Yeah, you could say the knife is blunt. It's more common to say a knife is dull, okay? So you sharpen a knife because you want the knife to be sharp, but after you use a knife for a long period of time, it can sometimes become dull. So anyways, blunt can be used as well, but I don't think it's as common to say the knife is blunt. We would mostly use dull. It's not incorrect, but definitely used. Okay, SL Lanka says, hi, Bob. Could you explain the meaning of slain, slew, and unslain? Thanks. So slain is another term for killed. So if someone was killed, you could say they were slain. And if someone, when you use it in the plural, like if you say they slew a lot of people, that would mean they killed a lot of people. And then I'm not sure about unslain. I'm not even sure if it's an English word. You would need to check that out. I have never used that. If it is an English word, I have never used it. Renata says, hey, Bob, could you pronounce mischievous and unscathed, please? Pronounce the latter a couple more times. Thank you. So mischievous. So this is a tricky one, and I'm going to have to look this up too, because there's mischievous. So mischievous is a person who is doing bad things. And then mischievous is for causing trouble. So interesting. I think mischievous. Let me go back here. Mischievous. I think I say it wrong. This is something that I learn sometimes. So mischievous. I say mischievous, and I think that might be wrong. I'm going to have to look this up later. Let me just check the audio again because things look a little weird. Bob the Canadian is trying his best to do the live stream well. But I have to keep checking too many things. I should hire a team of people to be in the studio with me. Let's see here. Next question is from Shanae. Hello, Teacher Bob, or Robert, to be polite. Generally, if someone uses their short form of their name regularly, like I use Bob when I say Bob the Canadian, that gives you permission to use the short form, okay? Robert is a very formal version of my name. So even if you were being polite, you probably wouldn't use Robert. What's the difference between comparison versus analogy? And apply a method versus use a method. So a comparison is when you take two things and you say what is the same about them. So if you say, you know, this chocolate milk is really sweet and this chocolate milk is also very sweet, but this chocolate milk tastes better than this chocolate milk, you are making a comparison, okay? An analogy is a little bit different. An analogy is when you, let's see here. It's when you compare, this is a tricky one for me. An analogy is when you compare to, my brain's not working very good today. Can you tell that? An analogy is also a comparison. It's when you compare two things using their, so, you know, I do these live streams quite a bit, and it's very rare for me to be stumped. And this is actually quite a simple question. Let's see. But I would say that an analogy is when two things are, like I'm trying to think with my vans, like an analogy would be that my vans are very similar to each other. I don't know. I'm failing people. This is the first failure of Bob the Canadian during his live stream to explain something. But I can tell you that if you apply a method or use a method, they mean exactly the same thing, Shanae. If you learn a certain method for doing something and you then later apply that method, or you later use that method, both phrases mean exactly the same thing. Let's get to the next question. This is from Zaire, and it's from earlier, and he's saying, no sound, sir, but there is sound now. Let me double check again. I know this is from earlier. There we go. And let's get to the next question here. Next question is from Modine, and Modine says, hi, Mr. Bob. How's your day been? Well, my day was really good until the live stream started to not work properly. But now I'm just trying to relax and settle down a bit and answer the questions properly. Let's see here. Are these both sentences? It's time you go and it's time you went, grammatically correct. And which one would be the far more commonly used? Thanks. I have heard both. If you are having a party and someone has stayed way too long, you can say, hey, it's time you went. It's time you went home. It's time you go. All of those would be fine. I think it's time that you go would be the most grammatically correct. It is time that you go, or it's time that you go. I think if you say it's time you went, that's a little bit odd sounding, but we do say it. I've heard that very often when people stay too long. Okay, it's time you went. It's time you went home. Let's get to the next one. From Ahmed. I'm going to skip this one. Let me get to the next question. Here we go. So, Tran says, hi. Sorry, I just blocked my question on the screen. Could you please tell me what is the comparative form of quiet, narrow, and simple? So if I was to say, my son is quiet, but my daughter is quieter, and my youngest daughter is the quietest. If I was to say this street is narrow, that street is narrower, this street is the narrowest, and then this is really simple, this is simpler, and that is the simplest. So that's how I would use those forms to compare those. Ario has the next question. Ario says, hello, Mr. Robert. What's the difference between to find your heart and to find your heart? Wait a sec here. Between to find your heart and to find to your heart. The first one is correct. The second one is a little bit incorrect. I heard that sentence in the song called I Sail Over Seven Seas. Thank you. So the first phrase, to find your heart, is to find maybe someone like your true love, or to find something you really like doing. The second phrase, to find to your heart, that sounds a little strange to me, and I don't think it's a correct sentence. If it is a lyric in the song, though, put it in the description below, because I'd be interested to read that for sure. Let's see here. Luke has the next question. Hi, Bob. Could you use subsequent and under any circumstances in example sentences? Thank you for answering my questions. So let's see here. When I'm done this live stream, I work on the subsequent task. That means I work on the next task. It's a very big word that just means the next thing. With each subsequent day, I get better at doing things. So subsequent is used in English, but we usually just say the next one. Like, you don't say I'm going to eat one cookie and then I'm going to eat the subsequent cookie. You say the next one. But when you are using official English language, like on the news, you might hear someone say, in each subsequent incident, this happened. So they're talking about things that happen in series. And then usually we say, don't do something under any circumstances. Okay, so you shouldn't speed under any circumstances. You shouldn't drive without your seatbelt on under any circumstances. Basically, what that means is there is no time when you should be doing that. Okay, let me get to the next question here. Shreya, hi Bob, could you please tell me, I'm going to add a me in there, tell me the difference between on and upon, and also the difference between with and from. Thanks. So upon is kind of a strange word. Like, I can put this cup upon the table, but that sounds really formal and weird. We usually just say on. The best example I can think of for upon is when we talk about like a fairy tale or a story from the past, when we say once upon a time. But we don't use the word upon very often in English. We almost always use on. And the difference between with and from, there are a lot of differences between those two words. I mean, I could say I am from Ontario, Canada. I go shopping with my brother. When I go shopping with my brother, I bring my phone with. And when I go shopping with my brother, sometimes we buy things from Radio Shack, or we buy things from Best Buy. Those two words have many, many usages and meanings. So it's a challenge for me to explain it very, very quickly. Sorry, Shreya. Let's see here. Eduardo. Hi, Bob. Good morning. My question, but and though are similar. Please, could you give an example using though? Thank you. So I use even though a lot. Okay. So even though I had problems with the live stream, I'm still doing the live stream. I should check the audio again. How many times should I check the audio? Many, many times. Looks like that's working. So even though I had problems, I'm still doing the live stream. And I could say, I started the live stream this morning, and even though I had problems, I just kept going and I fixed them. So but is a little bit different because I wouldn't say, I'm trying to think, like I wouldn't say even though I had problems. Yeah, they are very different for sure. Like when I use but in a sentence, I would say, I usually start with the word but. When someone tells me something, I say, but isn't there a better way to do this? Or, but don't you have more in the house? So that's how I would use but. Again, those words are very complex and challenging to give quick examples of. Let's see here. Vitor says, good morning, Bob. Which is the better antonym for the word mild in this sentence? President Donald Trump has mild symptoms of COVID-19. Thank you and have a nice day. I would say he has mild symptoms. You could also say his symptoms are moderate, or he has, we would use mild. Almost all the time when we're talking about a sickness, we describe it as severe or mild or moderate. So mild is obviously not very strong symptoms. So that would be the best word to use and the most common word to use in that situation for sure. Let's see here. Alejandra says, why am I not understanding yet? The verb have, it's difficult to learn it. Yes, I do have to apologize for the English language. It is a very difficult and challenging language. The verb have, we use it all the time. We use it as a helper verb. We use it as a main verb. Like I could say, I have done that. And I could say, I have tea here, right? I could say, I have gone on several trips. And I could say, I have a camera that I use. So you kind of have to start to separate it out because we say things too like, have you ever gone to the movies on a Saturday night, where we start a sentence or a question with have. So I think you just need more practice and more time learning the verb have and how to use it properly. But yes, it's definitely tricky. Let's see here. Next question is from Hakui. Could you explain by all means and by no means? So if I'm in a line and someone says, hey, can I go in front of you? I'm in a hurry. I have lots to do. I could say, oh, by all means, go in front of me. So that means I don't mind. Okay. If someone says, can I borrow your car? I could say, oh, by all means, take the car. No problem. You can have it. So it's basically a way of agreeing to someone. But if you say by no means, it's kind of the opposite. If I say you should by no means be eating your lunch before lunchtime, if I said that to a student, it means that you shouldn't be doing that under any circumstances. It's almost exactly the same phrase. So that was an earlier phrase, by the way. Let's see here. Dora has the next question. Hi, Dora. Hello, Bob. How are you doing? Could you explain to me what is the... I'm not sure what... Let me see here. I'm going to try and decipher this question. Could you explain to me what is the best method to stick to a diet? Maybe that's the question. Or what is the method to stick to a diet? The best way to stick to a diet, I think, it's almost the same as how to learn English well. You need to work on it every day. You need to make sure that you post notes to yourself saying that you should eat well. You need to make sure that the first thing you think about every day is, how am I going to eat properly today so that I am healthy? Dora, I hope I answered your question. Sorry if I got it wrong. Just trying my best here today. I am going to check the audio one more time. Are you guys tired of that yet? Yeah, we're good. By the way, in English, when you stick to something, it means that you keep doing it. Hannah's Lexus. What is the difference between how about and what about? So if someone says, let's see, we should take an airplane on our trip, you could say, well, how about a boat? Or you could say, well, what about a boat? Wouldn't that be cheaper? How about we take a boat? Or what about a boat? So they're slightly different, but they're used to kind of introduce something else to the conversation. So again, if someone said, we should go to Spain, let's take an airplane, I could literally respond and say, well, how about we take a boat instead? How about we take a boat? That's a very Canadian sounding sentence. Or I could say, what about a boat? We could take a boat instead. So anyways, they are ways to offer another alternative in a conversation. I like that phrase. How about a boat? What about a boat? You like that? That's really fast. What about a boat? Brian from Colombia. Hi, Bob. What does the phrase level the playing field mean? So when you level the playing field, you make it so that everybody has the same advantages in something that is competitive. So let's say there is a race and it is a bicycle race. And if you gave everyone exactly the same bicycle at the beginning of the race, you would be leveling the playing field. Okay, so let's say there is a car race. And at the car race, you say you are only allowed to have this much horsepower coming out of your engine. Horsepower is a measure of the power of an engine. That would be a rule that will level the playing field. So when you level the playing field, you make sure that everyone competing has the same advantages and disadvantages. This can also happen at work. Sometimes they level the playing field at work so that all workers have the same advantages as the others. Let's see here. Let's see. Next question is from Margaretha. Hi, Teacher Bob. Please explain the difference between seen from the spot and seen from on the spot. Thank you. Best wishes from Ukraine. So, you know, if I went to Niagara Falls and I was really high on a hill, I could say that this view of Niagara Falls is seen from the spot I'm standing. I wouldn't use the phrase seen from on the spot. That would be I can't think of an example where I would use that phrase. There's nothing wrong with it, but I would definitely use the phrase seen from the spot. You know, this picture, oh, you're seeing this from the spot where I was standing, or this was seen from the spot where I was standing. Yeah, the second phrase, though, I'm not sure about. Let's see here. Nawal has the next question. Let me check my time here. Hello, Teacher Bob. I would like to know is there a difference between clothes and clothing? Thank you. So I wear clothing, I wear clothes. They are almost exactly the same, I think. I have a lot of clothes, I have a lot of clothing. How much clothing do you buy every year? How many articles of clothing do you buy? Yeah, they're fairly similar. Like every day when I get up, I have a shower. After I have a shower, I put on clothes. That's the common thing to say. I could also say I put on clothing. Okay. Notice the slight difference in pronunciation though. We say clothes. We hardly say the TH at all. Like I'm wearing clothes. It sounds a lot like close the door. They're almost identical. In fact, you can't tell the difference. And then when I say clothing, you actually hear the TH sound coming out. Let's see here. I should pause and say hi to the 508 people that are watching. I'm glad people are watching, even though I feel like I'm muddling through today. There is a subscribe button there, by the way. When you muddle through something in English, it means that it's not going as well as it normally goes, but you're just getting through anyway. So I'm trying my best to answer questions as best as possible, but I'm not sure this is the greatest lesson. I hope you're enjoying it, but I'm not sure I'm doing the best job today. But you know what? We're just going to power through. We're just going to carry on. We're just going to keep at it. We're just going to keep on trucking. By the way, that's another phrase we use. Let me see here. Kismo. Hi, Teacher Bob. How are you? What does bada bing, bada boom mean and how to use it? Thanks. So this is maybe something you've heard in a movie or TV show. It is not a common phrase in English, but most people would recognize it. It simply is something people say when they're excited, I think. But I have never heard anyone say this in real life. I have only heard it on TV or in a movie. Yeah, not very common. Rod. Hi, Rod. Hello there, sir. How are you? I'm good. I wonder which one should be picked. Good luck in or good luck on the game? Thank you. Always have a great Sunday. So I would say good luck in the game. Good luck with the game. We wouldn't say good luck on the game. I would definitely say, hey, you're playing volleyball tomorrow. Well, good luck in your game. Yes. Or good luck with your game. Both would be fine. Have a good game would probably be more common. Okay. You would probably most likely say, oh, are you playing volleyball tomorrow? Hey, have a good game or have a great game. That would be more common than good luck. But you might just say, sorry, Oscar just started barking. Sometimes it's bad to say good luck before a game, though. You might just say have a good game because it's certainly bad luck to say good luck with the show tonight if someone is an actor. You usually just say break a leg instead, which is kind of weird because you don't actually want them to break a leg. But you should look that phrase up. It's kind of a funny one. Let's see here. Ramon from Spain. Hi, Bob. Thank you for your wonderful classes. You're welcome, Ramon. Have you ever experienced any difficulty in understanding spoken English in some movies? Congratulations on your channel. Well, thank you for the congratulations. Yes, the channel just keeps growing. So thank you for all of you that clicked that button at some point in the past. And if you haven't, click it. It makes me happy. Have I? Yes. So sometimes when I watch a movie where people have a strong accent from Ireland or even from Britain or from other English-speaking countries, it might take me a few minutes to get used to the accent. Usually I can figure things out because you understand enough words and you see the actions. But yes, every once in a while I will have to rewind if I'm watching something from Scotland or Ireland in particular. Usually Australian accents, New Zealand accents, and American accents are very easy for me. I have no problem. It's usually the Irish and Scottish accents that get me just a little bit. Let's see here. Next question from Maria. Hi, Mr. Bob. Hope you're doing amazing. Thanks, Maria. When can I use have to and when gotta? How would it be? I have to or I gotta do homework? Thanks in advance. You can use both. Like I have to do some work later today. I got to do some work later today. Every Saturday afternoon when I'm done the live stream, there's usually a few things I have to do. There's usually a few things I got to do. So both, you can use both. Again, they are reductions, right? We've taken words and we've reduced them. So it's have to and got to is really just have to as well, because we don't say, I got to do this. Yeah, we use gotta a lot more than got to. I see people in the chat saying they heard Oscar. Yeah, just a little bit. Someone pulled in the driveway and then Oscar wanted to bark a little bit. Hey, give me a second here, folks. I do want to say hi to the 531 people watching, but I do also want to switch the chat to members only. So for about 10 minutes or more, chat is in members only mode. If you are a member and you are here and you want to ask a question, you may ask it in the chat, and I will do my best to answer it. And again, if you want to know what members are, they are people who clicked the join button below and they help support my channel. You guys are awesome. Thank you very much for doing that. Let's see here. I'm just got to flip through. This is a good question. Edson Spinula, what is your advice for yourself of the past? So if I could go back in time and give myself advice, I would tell myself to work harder in school. I did well in school, but I always think I could have done better. And then I think I would tell myself to be kinder to certain people in my life. I think all of us are kind to a lot of people, but sometimes we have conflicts with other people. So I would go back and tell myself to try to be kinder. And mostly I would probably tell myself to be nicer to my parents when I was a teenager, because I wasn't a really nice teenager. I wasn't bad, but I kind of just did what I wanted. So anyways, Brent from American English with This Guy says, I am driving and listening and using text to speech. My eyes are on the road though. Good, Brent. I'm glad that your eyes are on the road. So Brent is out and about today. In English, when we say someone is out and about, it's usually something you do on a Saturday. Maybe Brent is running errands. Maybe he's watching one of his kids play a sport. But later today, I will be out and about as well. I have to run to the grocery store. I have to get water and a few other things. So good to see you, Brent. Rod says, this guy says, oh, he says, drive safe. Yeah, I say the same thing. I think I caught the tail end of a conversation possibly between Brent and Rod in the chat. So sorry to jump in if that was your conversation, guys. But the tail end of something is the last part of it. So Lolly Lolly says, bonjour, Bob. I wonder, I am well or I am good. Thanks, Bob, or merci, Bob. How are you today? I'm good. How are you today? I'm doing well. I don't often say I'm well. It is a correct response. You can say, oh, I'm well. Yeah. My most common responses are, I'm doing great. I'm doing well. Things are going good. Those are my most common ones. Or I'm good. I'm good is a very common one. I don't want to say negative things, but there are sometimes videos on YouTube that say, don't say this anymore. It'll say things like, don't say I'm sorry, or don't say, how's it going? And I see those and I think, I should just keep track for a few months of all the English conversations I have, and then record how many times people say, "How's it going?" Because it is very common. When I see the videos that tell you not to use that phrase, I always think, oh, in my area, like literally, that's how people say hi. They say, "Hi, how's it going? How's it going?" Very, very common. So maybe I'll do that. Maybe for 6 months, I'll write down some of the phrases and I'll keep track of how often they're used. And then I'll do a video about that. Hey, Moto Explorer, thank you so much for becoming a member. That is awesome of you. Awesome stuff. Let me see here. I think Rod has the next question. What is the difference between responsible to and responsible for? So my kids are responsible to me. Okay. If I tell them they need to do something, I will hold them responsible. So they are responsible to me for that. I am responsible to my boss. So that means that if he tells me to do something, I need to make sure that I do it. If I'm doing a job, I'm responsible for the job. Okay. So if I have to clean up the leaves today, I'm responsible for cleaning up the leaves. So that would be how I would use those two for sure. Let's see here. Mr. Bob, join us in the chat. You're most welcome. Hi, boss. Thanks, Rod. Switha says, hi, boss. What is the difference between I have completed the work and I completed the work? If I do a job and I say I have completed the work, or if I say I completed the work, they mean the same thing. One sounds a little more formal. If I say I have completed the work, I would most likely use the contraction and say I've completed the work. But mostly I think I would say I completed the work. Mostly though, I think I would just say I'm done. Hey, did you do that job, Bob? Yep, I'm done. I completed the work. That would probably be the most common answer. Let's see here. Aniko says, when you call a person transparent, does it only mean that he's honest, or also means that he does something wrong, but people can see that? Yeah. When someone is transparent, it means that they're doing things and you can totally see what they're doing. So maybe, like if you have a student in class that takes their book and holds it up like this, it's fairly transparent to me that what they're doing. They probably have their phone behind it. So when you're transparent, it means you're doing something that's maybe wrong and people can see that you're doing it. Sometimes we use this when people are extra nice. Sometimes people are really nice when they're in public, but they can be really transparent. It can seem fake because you know that they're actually not a very nice person. Rod says, thank you, no problem. Brent says, do you produce maple syrup on your farm? No, Brent, we could, but we have not started doing that yet. It is really tricky to produce maple syrup because you have to like going outside in March and April. I like winter, but I don't like it when it starts to get warm and muddy. So, and I don't think we have enough maple trees yet to do that. We might someday try that. Let's see. Alice says, hi, Bob. This is Alice from Taiwan. Hi, Alice. Good to see you. Panthera Nori says, Teacher Bob, within earshot is when someone is at a distance from the other, that one is still able to hear that person. Yes. If I was within earshot, it means that I am just close enough to hear people talking. There are people working on the road over there right now. And if I walk out a little ways, eventually I'm within earshot and I can actually hear what they're talking about. So it just means that you're just close enough to hear them. Julia, hi teacher. I don't have a question for today. Just say thank you. You're welcome, Julia. When I see Julia's name, it reminds me of the short English lesson video where I'm not sure if that's the one, but I said a bad word the other day. I apologize for that. It's not really a bad word. It's more of a vulgar word. I'm not sure, but it started raining while I was trying to make a video. So I said a bad word while I was running with my camera. Let's see here. Panthera, and is it the same with seeing? So you within eyeshot? No, you don't say within eyeshot. You just say, let me see, if you're close enough to see someone, I think you basically say you're close enough to see them. I need to get closer so I can see it, because I could say, oh, I'm going to walk closer so that I'm within earshot. But if I couldn't see someone, I would probably say, I'm going to get closer so I have a better view. I'm going to get closer so I can see them. Yeah. So no, there's no eyeshot. There should be, though. That would make sense. Let's see here. Aniko says, thank you, Bob. You're welcome. Panthera says, yet, keyword. Yes. And then Moto says, hi, everyone. I'm finally here on a live stream. Well, good to see you, Moto. Awesome to have you here. Let me see here. Fabrizio, how to be a better writer. Little correction there. Please give some tips about writing skills. So the number one thing you need to know with English and any other language that you're learning is that the more you do it, the better you'll get at it. This is true for everything in life, actually. The more you do something, the better you will get at it. So the number one thing you should do is practice your writing. You can do a few things. You can copy things. It's not the best way, but it is a way to practice your writing. So if you read a news article, write it out. You can get a pen pal or find a pen pal where you send emails back and forth. That is one of the best ways to improve your writing. When I talk with my French speaking partner, we usually exchange 1 or 2 emails before we meet to have a conversation. And then I show her the mistakes she made in her English writing, and she shows me the mistakes I made in my French writing. Having a regular written conversation with someone via email is just a great way to do it. Yep. Let's see here. SEO, polyglot. How many can they speak at least? 2 or 5? I would say a polyglot is anyone who speaks more than 2 languages, but I don't actually know. Someday, if I learn a 3rd language, I'll have to figure out if I'm a polyglot. Because poly does mean 5, I think. A polygon. No, maybe not. I think it's 3 or more. We'll go with that. I have Swetha saying, hi, teacher, and thank you, no problem. It was a magnum opus lesson. Thanks, Julia. Let me get to the next question. Arena has the next question. Hi, Teacher Bob. What does clocking hours mean? Thank you. So when you work, sometimes you get paid a certain amount of money for the year and you are on salary, but sometimes you get paid by the hour. Okay. So if you work by the hour, sometimes you work a lot and you are clocking a lot of hours. So you could say, there's a lot of overtime at work right now. I'm working 12 hours a day. I'm really clocking a lot of hours this week. That means that you are working a lot of hours and you are going to make more money. Norma says, hi, showing one's true colors means like taking one's mask off, isn't it? Yes, when you show your true colors, it means, let's say, so just so you know, the Bob the Canadian that you see in my videos and that you see in my live streams is pretty much the Bob the Canadian. There's no fake Bob the Canadian character that I act out when I'm making my videos. This is me. There's nothing fake. But if I, for instance, when I made my videos, was pretending to be a different person, then when you met me in real life, you might say, wow, he's really showing his true colors now. He's way different in real life. So anyways, hope that makes sense. Panthera, yet. I meant it as the keyword because you mentioned you haven't started to produce maple syrup yet. Yes, that's the keyword. That means that someday I might do it. We'll see. Let's see here. Panthera also says, Teacher Bob, snooty means totally the same as arrogant. Yes, a snooty person is someone who is very arrogant and doesn't really care about other people. They're very snooty. Sometimes in English, we describe rich people as being very snooty people. Hey, I'm going to turn off. Thank you once again to all my members. I'm going to turn off members only chat. And let me see here. Yes, there we go. It is off. Good. So thank you very much, members, for supporting my channel. You guys are awesome. And I appreciate every single one of you. Let's keep going with the lesson, though. We have about 15 more minutes to go. Let's see here. Amit says, hi, Bob. Thanks for your live lesson. What's the difference between stick around and stick at something? So, first of all, we would probably say stick with. And let me explain the difference. So, if you go to a concert and the band does not come out on the stage, you'll probably stick around until they do. So it simply means to wait. Maybe you go to the grocery store and they don't have any milk and they say, we'll have more milk in 1 hour. You might stick around so that you can get milk. So you might wait for the milk. When you stick with something, it means you keep doing it. Okay. So maybe you are in school and your grades aren't really good. You're not doing well, but you decide that you're going to stick with it. Okay. When you stick with something, it means you keep doing it. So hopefully that makes sense. I think that made some sense. Next question is from Yasin. Hello from Iraqi Kurdistan. I have 2 questions, Bob, if you don't mind. No problem. First, what does it mean if you say he or she is my rock? And second question, if you froze, what does it mean if you froze a question? Okay, so the first one, if you say someone is your rock, it means that they are someone in your life, usually someone you love. It's usually your spouse or a romantic partner. And it is the person in your life that is always there for you, that always takes care of you when you're having problems. It's the person that when other people say you're not doing a good job and you feel sad, they make you feel happy. So often people in a relationship will say, well, he's my rock or she's my rock. So a rock is not movable like a big rock. So it's like that person keeps you grounded in life. This is a pretty complex description. So basically, Jen is my rock there. Does that help you? She keeps me happy when I'm sad, and she's just very nice and helps a lot. The second question, I'm not sure. What does it mean if you froze a question? So the only thing I can think of is sometimes the live stream will freeze, but I'm not sure exactly. Yes, and sorry, I'm not sure I quite understand the question there. Let me see here. Aniko says, hi, Rod. Thank you. Yeah. And then Rod says, Mr. Bob is really the same in and off camera. Pretty humble. Thanks, Rod. So Rod and I have talked on Skype a few times now. We just, because we're both teachers, it's fun to talk once in a while. So I talk to Rod once a week lately, and then a lot more back in the summer. So thanks, Rod. I thank you. Yes, I'm pretty sure I'm the same person all the time. I'm pretty straightforward guy. There's not a lot more than what you see here on the camera. Thanks, Rod. Let me see. Next question is from Bu. Hi, Bob. I have trouble using collective nouns. Can you explain? Thank you, Bob. Have a great day. So nouns are tricky because we have countable things. We have things that aren't countable. It's a way bigger question than I can answer on the lesson. Okay. I think what you should do is you should watch a few videos on that specific topic because it's really hard to explain how we use nouns because we do some really weird things with them. For instance, let me just check for a sec. There was a little thing I could say. Yeah. I think the trickiest part with collective nouns is that they're usually singular, even though there's more than one person or thing in it, right? So if you say, like on a ship, they have a crew, it's just one crew, but there's a bunch of people in the crew. Or like my family, this is my family. It's singular, but there's actually 7 people in my family. And that I think makes it tricky because you're not sure how to use adjectives with it because you think it's plural, but it's not. So anyways, I can't explain too well just here in a live stream, but just have a look online if you can find something view. I think you will be able to. Let's see. Next one is from Azraf. Hello, teacher. Please tell me what kind of slang I shouldn't ask for in Canada. I mean, what kind of slang Canadians don't like. Just don't swear. Be polite. There isn't a lot of slang that you need to use. And if you don't use slang in Canada, no one will think you sound funny. Okay. I think that just don't worry about it. If you accidentally picked up some slang that you think is bad, just avoid using those words. But I can't think of any slang that's really bad. Generally, our slang is fairly mild, I think. So anyways, hard to know without actual examples. Of course, here's an example. Josio says, hi, Bob. How do you use the word dude? So if you know a guy really well, if someone's your friend, you could say dude, you could say bro. I don't. I'm too old, I think, for those phrases, but I do hear students sometimes say things like, hey, dude, you want to go buy some lunch? Or hey, bro, you want to get some lunch? So when 2 guys are talking to each other, they sometimes use the word brew or bro, sorry. Brew is very South African. Or they say dude. I don't, though. I just say, hey. I use man sometimes, like, hey, man, are you going to town to get some lunch today? Can I come with? I don't use dude, though. People do, though. It's pretty common. Let's see here. Kate has the next question. Hello, Bob. How are you doing? Thank you for your lessons. Can you explain the differences between go ahead, go on, and continue? Thank you. Yeah. So if I say to someone, go ahead, or if I say go on, or if I say continue, it means that they can keep going. Okay. So if a student was presenting or giving a speech in class and they stopped, I could say go ahead, like keep going. I could say go on. I could say continue. They all would mean the same thing. Go ahead can be used a little differently. Like if I'm in a line and I want to let someone in, I could say, oh, go ahead. Yeah, that's fine. But go on and continue mean almost the same thing. Like you can continue, you can go on. That would mean the same thing. Panthera Nori says pal or pals. Yeah, that's another one I don't use, but it's pretty common. People use the word pal once in a while for sure. Let's see here. Valdez says, hello, sir. How can I find an English partner with whom I can talk and practice my English? You know, I think it's really hard to find someone who's willing to talk to you for free. The only thing I can recommend is if the language you speak is a language that a lot of people in the world want to learn. So if you speak French or Spanish, if you speak Chinese, if you speak one of the languages that has value for travel or value for business, you can probably find someone who's willing to do a language exchange where you teach them your language and they teach you English. That's what I do with French. So I teach someone English and they teach me French. It's a nice exchange. If not, you really just need to hire someone. There's a link below for a website called Preply where you can hire an English tutor. It's a great service. I used it when I was learning French. I think if you scroll down in the description, it's down there somewhere. But it does cost money. But I think that's the one thing about learning English. At some point, you need to find a speaking partner and it might cost you money. So there's really no way around it. I mean, you can read for free, you can write for free, you can listen to stuff for free, you can do a lot of things for free. But at a certain point, you might need to hire an English tutor to have conversations with. Let me see here. Franco says, why is the word is sometimes put at the end, like at the end of a sentence? I'm trying to think of an example, Franco, of a sentence that ends in is. I can't think of one right now. It's probably pretty common. Sentence that ends with is. Let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't often do that, Franco. So I don't often end a sentence with is. And so it's hard for me to think of an example. Let's see here. Let me get to the next question. Next question from Lasima. Hi, Teacher Bob. Could you tell me the meaning of the words restraint, passionate, and exclusive? Please give examples in sentence form. Thanks, Teacher Bob. No problem. So when you have restraint, it means you hold yourself back. So let's say there was a big chocolate cake in my kitchen. And if I said, you know, that's not healthy for me to eat, I'm not going to eat any cake, I would be showing restraint. Okay. So when you show restraint, it means you stop yourself from doing something that you shouldn't be doing. When you have passion for something, it means you really want to do it. So I have a passion for teaching English on YouTube. I really like making videos and doing live streams. So I have a passion for this. And then when you're exclusive, it means that you only allow certain people to do things. So sometimes a group of friends will be exclusive. They'll say, let's go see a movie, but don't tell Joe and Fred. We'll just go with the three of us. We would say that they're being exclusive. Okay. They're not being very nice, by the way, if they do that. Let me see here. Next question is from Eduardo. Eduardo says, hi, Mr. Bob. Could you please explain the meaning of neat as slang? Thank you. The only way I use neat is I say, that's neat. Oh, that's really neat. If someone says, oh, I bought a canoe, I'm going to go canoeing in the river, I could say, that's neat. Oh, that's really neat. I'm not sure if you have a different meaning in mind. It's not really slang the way I'm using it. It's very common for you to say that's neat or that's really neat to someone. It's somewhat informal, but I wouldn't say that it's slang the way that I'm using it. So hopefully I'm giving you the answer that you were looking for, Eduardo. Let's see here. Let me see here. Abel says, hi, Bob. Hope you're doing great. Thanks, Abel. If an object comes out of a vehicle while still running, how would you describe this action? Thank you so much. That's very specific. You could use a number of ways to describe this. So let's say if you're talking about something coming out from the part of the car where the engine is, from under the hood, I would say something shot out. Okay, so if you are driving your car and a part of the engine just flew out of the car, I would say it shot out of the car. That would be very common to say. But if you're talking about something coming out of the car, like if the driver throws something out, we would just say, oh, somebody threw something out, or something was thrown out of the car. But certainly, if I was driving along and part of my car just came right out of the engine compartment, I would say it shot out for sure. Yeah. Let's see. Next question. Sorry, I'm clicking the wrong things here. So Laksha says, what is the difference between skip and left? So there's a couple different meanings here. So first of all, skip can simply mean when you have a rope and you spin it, you are skipping the rope. You are doing your skip rope. But that's, I don't think, what you mean. If a student doesn't go to class, we say that they are skipping class. So if a student does not come to my class, and if they're not home sick, and if they don't have permission to be somewhere else, we would say that they have skipped class, okay? When you say someone has left, it simply means that they decided to go, okay? So they've left the room. Now, left also means like, this is my left hand. You can say, there aren't any cookies left in the kitchen. There are many uses for these words. So hopefully in all that, you got an answer. I need a sip of tea here. Sorry for coughing into the microphone, and I should be coughing into my sleeve. I need to do that better. I'm supposed to cough into my elbow, right? Natalia, in my country, hi Natalia. In my country, cases of COVID are increasing again. A little correction there. The authorities decided to do the same measures as the beginning of the pandemic. What's going on in Canada? So in Ontario, Canada, in the province where I live, cases are going up, but they have leveled off again. So we were having less than 100 cases a day. Now we're having about 500 to 700 cases a day, but it seems to be staying around that area. What's happened is they've reduced the number of people that can meet. You are only allowed to meet with 10 people inside a building or 25 people outside for personal, for personal gatherings at homes. We are still running our schools, so schools are still open, but I think they are thinking about closing restaurants and bars, or they might have already done it. Okay, so things are a little bit worse than they were a month ago, and we're hoping the graph, like the graph of COVID cases went up and leveled. We hope it stays level. We hope it doesn't go really, really high. That would not be good. Let's see here. Next question is from Rachel Ting. Hi, Bob. How are you? My question is, he talks the talk but does not walk the walk. Does that mean the same as all bark and no bite, or is it different? Thanks for your answer. Yeah, it can be. Although all bark and no bite is a little different, I think. When you say someone is all bark and no bite, it means they're just always talking, and yeah, it is very similar. I think it's slightly different though. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Because all bark and no bite is used to describe someone who is verbally aggressive, but doesn't actually follow up their threats with anything. So if someone says, I don't like you, I'm gonna tell the boss you're a bad worker and he's gonna get you fired. And then if they don't actually do that, you would say they're all bark and no bite. But when you say someone talks the talk but doesn't walk the walk, that's more of a lifelong thing. That's more something you would use with a celebrity, where you would say, he talks about saving the environment, but he never donates any money. Okay, so they are slightly different. The all bark and no bite does have to do a little bit more with aggression, for sure. Let me see here. Gloria from Mexico. Teacher Bob, good day. Could you give me any advice about teaching English to teenagers? Thank you. Yes, so I did correct a few things there. Sorry. Here's what I would tell you. First of all, make sure you are using current music in your classroom. If you are teaching teenagers, make sure you use any kind of current media. So YouTube, current television shows that are made for their age level. You want to use more formal materials as well, but I certainly think that integrating some good English music that they would like, maybe even music they're already listening to, as well as more modern media, I think would be very helpful for you, for sure. Yep. Let's see here. Pradyusha, hi boss Bob. I'm the boss now, I guess. How to pronounce accept and accept. Even though I know words in English, but I do the wrong pronunciation, how to learn how to pronounce them. So when someone gives me a gift, I accept the gift. I'm saying an A sound. I accept the gift. But listen closely. Everyone went to the party except me. So that was the EXCEPT. So I accept a gift. Everyone went except me. It's a very slight difference. And if you were to say it slightly wrong, I'm not sure anyone would notice. So I say, oh, thank you for the gift. I'm going to gladly accept this gift. I'm over pronouncing it. I accept this gift. And then I could say, oh, everyone went to the party except me. So hopefully you can rewind this and listen a few times and hear that there's a slight difference between the two. Let's see here. Last question. Danielle says, hi, Mr. Bob. Why do Canadians say A and what does it mean? It is simply a way to end a question, or sometimes just a sentence. Like I could say, oh, it's pretty nice out here today, eh? And I could also say, I need to go to the store later today, eh? That sounded a little awkward, but usually I use it at the end of a question. I'll say something like, let's see here. What would be I'm having trouble thinking of it. I say it all the time. I really do. It's just sometimes hard to think of an example, eh? See there, I used it. Did you hear it? That was a little more natural. So I said, so sometimes it's hard to think of an example, eh? So it's just kind of a sentence ender. It prompts the other person to respond, like, because you want the conversation to keep going. It's a little bit like, huh, but not really. So I don't know. It's just something we say. I have no idea why we say it. Hey, anyways, I'm going to go to no display mode so you can see over here a little bit. I'll move over a little bit for you. Thanks for watching. It's been an hour. Sorry that we had some technical difficulties at the beginning. Hopefully that if you come back and you need to watch parts of this, you realize if you fast forward, the audio will start working. And just thanks for being here. Thanks to Todd and Dave for moderating. Thanks to Brent from American English with This Guy. Thanks to Rod VIP, who is here as well. You guys are all awesome. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for being patient while I was troubleshooting the problems. And I hope that you were able to learn just a few things. I am sorry that I did not get to all the questions, but that tends to happen, especially when there are technical problems. I see there are a lot of questions yet. Sorry, folks. Sometimes I just don't get to them all. Anyways, have a great weekend. Remember, you can come back and watch parts of this video later with subtitles turned on. Remember, there is a shorter version of my lesson from yesterday coming out in about 24 hours that you can watch. But other than that, have a great day. See you later. I'm just going to step out of the frame so you can just see the background for a bit before I hit the end button. So there we go. Really starting to look like fall here. Anyways, bye everybody. Have a great weekend. I'll see you new video Tuesday for sure, and I'll see you next Friday with another live English lesson. Bye. I should actually click the end button.